Today on Around Kansas, Deb pays tribute to Queen Victoria and local sculptor Jim Bass. Then in our wildlife, we get a sneak peek at the new Sternberg exhibit, Prairie Ocean, Long Time No See. On the front porch, our guest is Cooper Martin. Ron Wilson is experiencing some smartphone issues, and we end with a new monument that went up recently in Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Deb Goodrich, coming to you this morning from Fort Wallace Museum. My other job, my second or third job, I guess. Bill Hickok's keeping an eye on things right behind me, thanks to our dear friend and artist, Melissa Rao. So we've got a couple of other Melissa's works in the back too, so come and see us sometime and take a look for yourself. She's done some amazing work in the last couple of years from Topeka, and you can see she did Mary, the mother of Jesus, for Christmas. Oh my goodness, just stunning work, and we're so proud to have some of her work here with us. Well, last week or a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about what happened on this day in history, because being a historian, that interests me greatly, and I know it does some of you. Well, the thing that happened on this day in January 22nd in 1901, Queen Victoria passed away. And rarely has a monarch had such an impact on the world, and especially the American West. And in fact, I think Michelle and I may get busy and do a segment on that. A lot of the towns that we consider iconic Western towns were created during that Victorian era in the style of the Victorian homes, the woodwork, the opulence, those multi-story, multi-rooms with a lot of stuff. Victorians loved stuff. Loved it. They loved souvenirs. So the Victorians, never has there been such an age of collecting souvenirs. And in fact, I don't know if that's where it began, but it sure did have a heyday. I can think of things that happened in Topeka. For example, there was a hanging, and the spectators just chipped away at the pole that this poor man was hanged from, until the next morning there was nothing left. It's just insane. When President Lincoln died, there had to be guards posted to keep souvenir hunters who came with scissors in their pockets to keep from clipping pieces of his hair, his jacket. Bless his heart, the poor man would have had nothing left by the time he got to Springfield had it not been for the guards that were present. So we have all those crazy aspects of society. We owe all those to Queen Victoria. Christmas trees from Prince Albert. Most of our mourning customs, what might be called high mourning by some people, where people were mourning clothes and very elaborate mourning rituals, comes from Queen Victoria. And I'm sure some of you are fans of the series on television. I am. It's pretty spectacular. But anyway, just a salute to Queen Victoria this morning. And another death that we were saddened to learn of, Jim Bass, who was an artist from Auburn, Kansas. His sculpture is in many places, public places you can see throughout Kansas. A real talent, passed away earlier in the month, and we're very saddened to hear of his loss. He and his wife Jean were just remarkably talented people and very generous people too, and our condolences to their family and the community that will miss them so much. Stay with us. We have a wonderful show today.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
My name's Karen Cope, and I have multiple sclerosis. When you have MS, on the outside you look great, but you know what's really going on in the inside is chronic body pain, chronic fatigue. And there's lots of days that I'd wake up and say, oh, please God, help me get through this day. You know, after stem cells, Chloe, my youngest daughter, she was asked by my father-in-law, how's your mom doing? And Chloe said, Grandpa, I've never had a mom like this before, because she was 8 when I was diagnosed, and she really had no other memory of me but being sick. It's really the simple things that we do as a family, like play cards, and to be able to win at cards. You know, they all laugh because I used to repeat myself and say, what hand are we on? You know, where are we at? And it's just been really a true blessing from God, and we're really thankful.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
Our friends at the Sternberg Museum have a wonderful exhibit, the Prairie Ocean Long Time No See. It opened just this past weekend with our friend Chuck Bonner. He's our neighbor just south of Oakley, and his friend Ray Troll, and they have a remarkable collection of fossils and artwork. And this, I think, will be on exhibit through May. And of course, anytime's a great time to go to the Sternberg, but especially now. Let's take a look. Some of the most unique fossil finds have been made in Kansas, and the Sternberg Museum of Natural History in Hays has long been a monument to those discoveries and the scientists who made them. A new exhibit at the Sternberg combines the passion of those scientists with art, capturing the spirit of adventure that characterized them. The Prairie Ocean, Long Time No See, created by Chuck Bonner and Ray Troll, highlights stories of the Bonner family and their family legacy as fossil hunters. The exhibit also focuses on Kansas and its natural history, featuring a variety of Chuck and Ray's artwork and fossils found here in Kansas. Chuck is a Kansas native, born and raised in the central and western parts of the state. His passion for art and fossil hunting was inherited from his parents. Chuck attended Fort Hays State, where he received a bachelor's degree in art and a master's degree in painting. His art has been featured all over central and western Kansas, including murals at Fort Hays State and the Ellis County Historical Museum. Chuck and his wife Barbara Shelton currently operate the Keystone Gallery near Oakley, which is a combination art gallery, fossil museum, and gift shop. For more information about Chuck, the Keystone Gallery, and his artwork, visit his website at keystonegallery.com. Ray Troll is known for his unique style of blending art and science.
drawing his inspiration from extensive field work and the latest scientific discoveries. Ray earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Bethany College in Lindsborg and a master's degree in studio arts from Washington State University. After he graduated, he moved to Ketchikan, Alaska. From there, his artwork grew in popularity, eventually earning him an honorary doctorate in fine arts from the University of Alaska Southeast. Ray's art has been featured in museums, books, and magazines. For more about Ray Troll, his artwork, and his exhibits, visit his website at trollart.com. The exhibit will be up until May. Make sure you tell them that Around Kansas sent you and make some time to spend in their terrific gift shop. Then head west to Chuck and Barb's Keystone Gallery. Then make plans to visit the other museums boasting unique fossils. Better set aside a whole week. Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on three main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Dwayne Thames joining you once again, and our guest this week, Cooper Martin from Alma, Kansas. He's a PRCA calf roper, and he's been to back-to-back National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, Nevada, making another run to make it 3 years in a row. Cooper, let's talk a little bit about your time and preparations before you head to Las Vegas. It's the biggest rodeo of them all.
Well, my first year, I don't think I really knew what to expect. I didn't really know how I wanted my horse to be because it's such a different setup from the rodeos that we go to all year. You know, it's not, it looks on TV so simple, but it's nothing like I've ever experienced in my whole life. It's something that this year, for 3 weeks beforehand, I rode one calf every day with the same barrier and the same box size and tried to make it as realistic as possible. I still didn't have the finals that I was wanting to, so that just goes to show how quite the setup, and it may not be as tough as it always is, but it's dang sure something that you try to be prepared for.
We think about the opportunity to win the kind of dollars, and we've kind of referenced that. My understanding is most guys that from 16 on down pretty well burn up everything that they've won going down the road, and those in the top 15 get a chance to maybe put some money in the bank at the end of the year.
Yes, sir. They've made that NFR so good for two things. You can go in there 15th. Tyson Durkee's done it. Several guys have done it. You can go in there 15th no matter where you're sitting or how far you're from first, and you can go win the world. And then also there's guys that can go home and put some piece of land together. It's an awesome experience, but it's a great opportunity to make a living at what you do.
So talk a little bit about your first year there, an accomplishment. You've proven you're one of the top 15 in the world, and you get a go-round win at the national finals. What was that experience like, and getting to go to that ceremony and pick up a round buckle?
It was like a dream come true, but it was so real that I almost thought I was going to wake up and it not be true. You know, it's something that I watched growing up all my life, and Trevor Brazil was roping, you know, and that's somebody that I've watched since I was a little kid. That's so amazing, but it's so tough. Everybody that makes it, even the top 20 that don't make it, are some roping guys. I mean, it's competition all the way through, and then once you get out there, there's kind of an ease. You get to relax a little bit, just go rope and have fun.
They talk about the draw out there. Talk a little bit about how you know in those first rounds. My understanding is those calves all get run. You guys get a chance to put eyes on them when they're doing that?
Yes, sir. We go out about 3-4 days early, and they take the calves out 2 weeks early so they can get acclimated to the climate. And we get to breakaway them all one time through behind the barrier, so you get to run your horse through the barrier and get a couple practice throws, and then we tie them all. There's 3 sets of 25 calves, and we get to tie all of them, all set, the first morning of the first performance. So the first performance was the first set, second and third, and so on. So after the third set, you don't get to tie. So if you have a stronger one in the first 3 sets, they may get stronger because they're not going to get tied. They just sit and eat all week. So it's the draw out there is so crucial because, for one, everybody out there is roping so good, and then for 2, usually there's only 1 or 2 out there that not necessarily take you out of it, but take you out of the round cut. And that's one thing that I was fighting this year is I was trying to win so bad that I wasn't letting the good ones. I was trying to force the good ones that I was getting. I had 3 or 4 calves that we were really trying to stay away from, and I got them. Well, then I was so wanting to win that when I got a good one, I was trying to do way too much. That's why that building is so hard. It's so hard for them horses to be fought on perfect 10 nights in a row. They get body sore. We get tired from walking on concrete. There's a lot that comes into play.
That's Cooper Martin, PRCA calf roper, joining us on the program.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for that grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that's served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com. This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
One of my favorite themes is cowboys and technology, probably because I'm technologically challenged. Even the simple cell phone can sometimes befuddle me, and it inspired me to write the following poem. It's called The Smartphone, Dumb and Dumber. They showed me a new smartphone down at the cell phone store. They said it could check email and take pictures and do more. It had so many features that I almost forget. You could get a bunch of apps and surf the internet. So I bought that brand new cell phone, even though it made me nervous. The next Sunday, I was sitting in our Sunday church service. The preacher was a-going on his Sunday sermon thing when that cell phone chose that very time in which to ring. Well, my face got all red and I fumbled for my phone and turned the darn thing off to stop the noxious tone. After the service, I said that I was sorry to the preacher, but he was very gracious about my interrupting feature. It was the next morning I rode out to check the cattle, to look for newborn calves and to fight the coyote battle. The herd was fine. But when I got my horse back to the stalls, I checked the time on my phone and found I'd missed 3 calls. My wife had called from town about a part that we were needing, plus the order buyer called and a man about cattle feeding. I was so disgusted to have missed those calls for sure, but the phone was all turned off from what I'd done the day before. And that is how it's gone with this cell phone ever since. It's always the wrong way, which always makes me wince. How can it be that this is how it's always gone? When I want it on, it's off, and when I want it off, it's on. There must be something wrong with this phone, at least in part. I thought the dadgum salesman said this stupid phone was smart. I was cussing out this cell phone. I was really on a tear. Then my wife made some comment about operator error. So I think the time has come, even though it is a slam, to admit this dadgum smartphone is smarter than I am. Happy trails.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Trust and leadership are critical to success at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center in Manhattan. Just ask Coach Bill Snyder.
People of the Regenerative Center do care about others. I've been highly impressed with those people that have that vested interest and try to help people become better. The center really is a wonderful thing here in Manhattan, first of its kind, and we're on the cutting edge of what lies ahead.
Find out more about the trusted leader in stem cell therapy at kansasrmc.com. Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
I have our friend Mike Boss, the amazing artist from Hill City, Kansas, to thank for this next story, not only for the story, but for the work he's done in recognizing these Army Air Force men who were killed in Kansas in a plane crash that occurred on February 2nd, 1943. Mike and some of his comrades just erected a memorial to those men. So let's take a look at that story. Lieutenant Paul M. Capaccio, his crew, and one passenger left Casper Army Airfield, Casper, Wyoming, on February 2, 1943. It was supposed to have been a 5-hour ferry flight to Tinker Army Airfield in Oklahoma City. Capaccio's aircraft was a United States Army Air Force Boeing B-17F. The crew had newly transferred to the 100th Bomb Group, 350 Bomb Squadron based in Sioux City, Iowa. Later that day, all the men aboard were killed when the plane crashed into a small hill in rural Kansas. Michael Boss, artist and historian living in Hill City, grew up hearing the story of the tragedy, and for the last year and a half, he and a group of friends have been working toward memorializing the men who lost their lives. On January 9th, their efforts came to fruition when a marker was set at a local cemetery near the crash site. Mike has also used his artwork to share the story, including a painting of local farmer Russell Pennington, who rode his tractor to the crash. Capaccio had flown into a major storm and was 125 or 30 miles north of where he should have been, Mike estimated. At approximately 4:20 Central Standard Time, witnesses near the crash site said the B-17F was having engine trouble and flying in heavy fog. Capaccio was flying southeast, made a turn back to the northwest, climbed into the fog, turned southeast, came out of the clouds, most probably in a slip, and flew into the hill. The site is 8 miles north and a half-mile east of Bogue. Having gone through the crash reports, the cause is still up for speculation. Did they lose the use of their instruments? Was there damage to the plane? Whatever the reason, the B-17 crashed into a field, a hillside that could barely be called a hill. Witnesses said the holes made by the engines plowing into the ground were visible for years. Crews from nearby Walker Army Airfield had the sad duty of clearing the crash site of human and aircraft remains. It took more than a week. Those lost in the crash were First Lieutenant Paul M. Capaccio, the pilot from New Jersey; Latimer Lafayette Stewart, co-pilot from California; First Lieutenant Jacob Madsen, Jr., navigator from Iowa; Thaddeus Donlovich, engineer from Pennsylvania; Frank Culver, radio operator from Pennsylvania; and Heiner Block, a passenger from Michigan. Those working on the monument project along with Mike are Ron Galloway, Corey Johnson, Bob Saunders, Lauren Johnson, and Jez Rush. The monument is located in the McFarland Cemetery, 7 miles north of Bogue. Ironically, only 2 hours earlier, a B-24 had run into trouble flying just north of Arnold, Kansas, in this same weather system. The pilot ordered the crew to bail out, but one of the crewmen was killed when his parachute malfunctioned. What a dark day in Kansas. It's been great sharing Wednesday morning. As always, I'm Deb Goodrich, and I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Join us for the 3rd annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.